The fog hung low in the woods, clinging to the ground like a restless spirit. Peter adjusted the strap of his camera bag and glanced at his watch. 11:45 p.m. The locals had warned him about the chapel and its ghostly inhabitant, but Peter wasn't one to heed superstitions. He'd made a name for himself capturing the eerie and the unexplained, and tonight would be no different. The forgotten chapel loomed ahead, its stone walls cloaked in ivy. The door creaked on its rusted hinges as Peter pushed it open, the sound echoing through the empty nave. Moonlight filtered through shattered stained glass, painting fractured rainbows on the dusty floor. At the altar, a cracked mirror stood tall, its silver backing tarnished with time. Peter set up his tripod, the legs scraping softly against the stone floor. He couldn't deny the oppressive chill in the air, as if unseen eyes were watching his every move. Just a story, he muttered to himself, clicking his camera into place. The seconds ticked by, each one louder than the last. At exactly midnight, a sudden gust of wind slammed the chapel door shut. Peter jumped, his flashlight casting frantic beams across the room. When the light settled, he saw her, the bride. She stood behind him in the mirror, her gown a patchwork of moth-eaten lace and decay. The veil obscured her face, but blood dripped steadily from its edges, pooling at her feet. Her voice was a whisper, brittle as autumn leaves.
Why have you come?
Peter froze, his heart hammering against his ribs. I wanted to see you, to photograph you. The bride tilted her head, the motion unnatural, like a marionette's.
They all want to see, to capture, to take.
Her voice grew louder, tinged with anger.
But none bring what I seek.
What do you seek? Peter's voice wavered, his grip on the camera tightening. The bride stepped closer, her form flickering like a candle about to gut her out.
Forgiveness.
Peter swallowed hard. Forgiveness? For what? The air grew heavier, the temperature plummeting. The bride's veil lifted slightly, revealing hollow eyes and a face etched with sorrow.
He left me.
She said, her voice cracking.
Promised me forever, then fled. I waited and waited until my heart stopped. And still I wait.
A sudden wave of compassion washed over Peter, cutting through his fear. I'm sorry, he said softly, but he's gone. You've been waiting for a century. Holding on to this pain is only hurting you. The bride's figure flickered again, her form becoming translucent.
I can't let it go.
Peter set down his camera and stepped closer to the mirror. You can, he said firmly. Forgiveness isn't for him. It's for you. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means freeing yourself from the chains of the past. The bride hesitated, her hands trembling.
Will it end the waiting?
Yes, Peter said, his voice steady. It's time to rest. A single tear slid down her cheek, mingling with the blood. She raised her hands to her veil and slowly lifted it, revealing a face ravaged by both beauty and despair. She looked at Peter, her hollow eyes softening.
Thank you,
she whispered. The chapel grew unbearably bright, forcing Peter to shield his eyes. When the light faded, the bride was gone. The air felt lighter, the oppressive chill replaced by a gentle warmth. Peter's camera, untouched, lay on the floor, its lens cracked but intact. As he left the chapel, he glanced at the cracked mirror one last time. For the briefest moment, he thought he saw her reflection, smiling, serene, free. Peter returned home, his hands still trembling. He opened his journal and, with unsteady fingers, wrote a single word, forgive, and in the quiet of his room, he whispered a silent prayer, not just for her, but for himself as well.